so many fucking perspectives on this. I don't even know how to explain it to you clearly. I am getting a PhD in cancer biology. I wanted to make this video specifically for the people that are in their 20s that don't take their health seriously because they don't understand how the choices that they make today genuinely matter in the long run. All I'm trying to do is to relay what I've learned and how I've changed the choices that I make because of what I've learned. Why I take my research so seriously, or why I take what I learned so seriously, because this is all about our health, our life that we live, our experience, overall quality of life. You can't do shit if you're sick, if you develop a disease, and that's a lot of your money that is gonna go towards hospital bills, health insurance, medications, so many things. Little backstory. Why am I pursuing a PhD in cancer biology, first of all? So when I was 14 years old, I was in high school, my mom got diagnosed with breast cancer. Getting a cancer diagnosis is probably one of the scariest things. Getting diagnosed with any serious illness is super, super scary. My brother, he was in his undergraduate school when he had found out. I was in high school. Both of us have always been interested in science and understanding, really, really complex things like biology and chemistry. And he decided that he was going to pursue a PhD in the field of breast cancer research because he wanted to understand breast cancer and to work towards developing a drug to treat breast cancer. At the time in high school, you don't learn about disease at all, really. All of the AP biology courses, AP chemistry, all the science courses that you take in high school is highly focused on understanding our body in the normal context, like no disease. But I was not really interested in that at the time. And I was like, can somebody just tell me what the fuck cancer is and why we get cancer and why it's so scary and is my mom gonna die? Like, I was praying to gods that I didn't even know. My mom had breast cancer free. She's hit her over 10-year mark. She had localized breast cancer. They found it super, super early. But she, to this day, is still trying to fix what chemotherapy and radiation has done to her body, which is why we need to, one, find better targeted therapies so that we're not using chemo and radiation. They are horrible. Do they work? Sure, but they will make you more sick than your cancer has in most cases. But also, what I think is more important is learning how to prevent cancer, because we can. Although many are scared to say this, I'm not. We can prevent cancer. We know the things that matter. We know the actions that we take and the choices that we make can lead to those things. I'm not talking about genetics. I'm leaning more towards epigenetic changes. The environments that we create in our body based off of the choices that we make day to day, creating an environment to allow for something like cancer to develop. These are all things that are known in the field. Can we pinpoint why somebody developed cancer? No, because again, this is a huge holistic system. Even if you develop cancer in your breast, you have things going on within your entire system. You're definitely going to have issues with your liver. You probably have issues with your kidney. You have issues with your immune system for sure because it's not killing your cancers. Probably shift in your microbiome, shift in hormone production. It's a systemic disease. It is not a localized disease. My research focuses on the microenvironment, entire environment in which the tumor develops. I personally don't care too much about the tumor itself. I care more about understanding the environment in which the tumor is in and how that's helping the cancer grow, how it allowed the cancer to end up there in the first place. Like, why did it choose this specific environment, and why did that environment allow it to flourish the way that it did, and what environments might cause a more aggressive form of cancer and a cancer that would actually travel throughout your body. The things that we know that play a role in diseases like cancer, ultimately your diet, your lifestyle habits, your physical activity, the stress that you endure, all play together and can promote inflammation. Inflammation. The biggest thing I want you to take away from this video is that you should be focusing on what it is that you are choosing to do that could possibly be promoting inflammation within your body. Many people today live day to day with an allostatic load. Your body is constantly fighting, not repairing, not healing, not returning to homeostasis, but trying to return to homeostasis. So it's fighting for its life to repair the inflictions that you cause day to day with the stress that you endure on a day-to-day basis, whether it's financial stress, security stress, trauma, emotional stress, physical stress, food that you decide to eat every single day, the sleep that you do or don't get, the quality of your sleep, the quality of your food, the quality of your water. How are the choices that I make day to day possibly contributing to inflammation? Your diet influences your microbiome. Your microbiome is essentially your second brain. You have more bacteria in your body than you do cells. We are not just our body. We are one with the environment, right? So literally every breath you take, you're breathing in microbes and you're breathing out microbes. Also, you are constantly immersed in the energy of your environment, like actual electromagnetic energy. If you are someone who lives in an environment in which you have emotional trauma, emotional stress because you have abusive relationships, or maybe you're around people that have abusive relationships, that will literally physically impact you. Many of us have to live in environments that have a negative energy, right? Like you don't want to go home. When you are home, you're like stressed out, you're hiding, like you're basically walking on eggshells in your own living space. And this has a huge impact on your physical health. And I know that's not something surprising, but it's something that people don't really take too seriously. Many of us are forced to stay in environments like this because of finances or because of whatever situation you might be in. You can't simply just, get up and move. Some people have grown up and have been placed in areas that have a lot of crime, in which you feel like you can't even go outside without like constantly looking over your shoulder. Did my garage get broken into? Did my house get broken into? Did my car get broken into? Like, these are real things that happen all the time, everywhere, essentially. But there's definitely places in which that happens more. It's hard to get out of situations like that when you don't have the capital to do so. And again, that's the matrix. Essentially, everything that I talk about is the matrix. I have all this knowledge on health, and then I have all this knowledge on the matrix, and I can see how the matrix has been put into place so that you cannot make good health choices, so that you do end up getting sick. Population control, they literally want you to die, but they want you to die slowly. They want you to die in a way where they will make money. You can't afford insurance, or you're not given insurance. You gotta pay out of pocket for things that you simply cannot afford, so you're gonna end up dying. You get less access to care. You might not even be offered clinical trials because of systemic racism, systemic injustice. It doesn't have to be about race. So it's done on purpose for certain people, the lower class, minorities, to be placed in environments that will put them at a higher risk of developing disease and developing more aggressive forms of that disease. The same groups of people will not have the same access to care, unfortunately, depending on where you live. They're also probably not given access to health insurance. If you are in poverty, if you are someone that experiences injustice, systemic injustice, this is done on purpose. You won't get hired for the job, so you can't make money, and you live paycheck to paycheck. You probably can't even afford going to the doctors. You don't even trust your doctors now. And I'm not saying that everyone in healthcare is bad, not at all, but the things, there are systemic problems. There are things that, aren't spoken about because people fear speaking up about these things because they can lose their licenses. There are things on the policy level that definitely need to be changed. There's a lot of support groups out there specifically for these groups of people that experience these things. So there are people out there that are constantly thinking about it to bring more awareness to the injustice that happens all around the world, to bring more awareness to the matrix that we live in and how we can try to make different choices or try to reach financial freedom in which we can make different choices. You can know all of these things, but you might not have the capital to actually implement any of these changes. So you're stuck and you're trapped in this matrix. And it's up to communities and it's up to people that have the privilege, have the capital to help those that don't. It is simply unfair to be trapped and to not know that you're trapped. It's unfair to be trapped and to not be able to make another choice because you are trapped. Also, like, trying to get out of that cage, although it's not impossible, it is made as if it is impossible. Your society and your fellow community that is also in the same position as you tell you it is impossible. As much as this world is physical and we literally experience it physically, we experience it mentally first. Everything gets processed through our belief system, and what you believe is what you experience. If you think you'll never get out, you will never get out. You hold on to that sliver of hope, and you educate yourself, and you do everything that you can, and that is what you work towards, because this is your life that you experience and the quality of your life, and changing it not only for yourself, your entire bloodline, and for anyone in your community that could be inspired by you. You can make real difference in this world by making a difference in yourself, by changing your own perspective, by empowering yourself instead of feeling like I literally cannot do anything. I think that everyone can do something about this. Whatever cards you were dealt, that's what you get to work with. I think we come into this world dealt certain cards that you, of course, had no control over. It's a game. It's how can I play with my deck? We're not going to give up. We're not going to settle for what we've been given. It's not taught that you could even try. Anything that someone thought was impossible has been done. There are homeless people that are now millionaires. There are plenty of stories. There are people that had terminal cancer, metastatic advanced terminal cancer. They were told that they wouldn't even live another month, that have lived decades, that have completely cured themselves mentally. We constantly live with emotionally stored trauma. We might not be in a position in which we want to even feel those emotions again. But at a time when you think you might be ready for it, take the opportunity. Process this trauma. Look into how do you process trauma. Again, it's not something that we are taught, and that's done on purpose so that you carry this with you so that you're easily triggered, where you would end up making bad choices, and they'll be like, oh, you made a bad choice, jail, prison, death. Your entire reputation could be damaged. You can't get the job that you wanted to get because of the choice you made. This shit is done on purpose. They don't want you emotionally healed. They don't want you physically healthy. They don't want you to know that you have been put against all odds. Although you experience that and you know that you are underprivileged, they say that you will never have the power to get out. They literally drain you of all energy. You can't even think about your future because you're thinking about my life right now. How will I survive another day? How will I take my kid to the doctors? Let's get to what I really wanted to talk about in this video. I took a huge tangent talking about the Matrix, which I have to, because the Matrix is the fucking reason why people experience these things. They don't educate you on these things, and they don't put you in positions in which you could make better choices. But I believe that there are people that could make better choices, and there are ways to get out of this injustice, even though it feels like you cannot. Still, at the end of the day, our choice with how we feel, the emotions that we feel, what we choose to do with our day when we do have the time to think about things. What are we thinking about? How are we thinking about those things? What is our perspective on those things? What do we care about? What do we spend our time and energy on? What do we spend our money on? All of these things matter, and they're choices that we do make. Diet. If you are eating out, that is convenience. When something is convenient, assume it's not good. The Matrix leverages the fact that you don't have the time or the energy to cook for yourself, so that means that you don't get to choose the ingredients and the quality of the food that you're about to eat. Could you find places that do serve high quality foods? Sure, you can. There are very, very few. It might be like 5% of everything in our entire nation, in the US at least, where you can eat somewhat clean. The majority of the food that you're getting out of convenience is bullshit. They probably cook with seed oils, highly processed ingredients, refined foods. They're probably not cooking with organic ingredients. If you eat meat, the quality of the meat that they get is probably poor. We're eating animals that were in chronic stress and inflammation, and then we eat that. So like literally you are what you eat, because you shift your entire energy with what you eat. Literally, you become the energy of what you just put in your body. When you eat something of a low vibration, like of an animal that was stressed its entire lifetime, wasn't able to even touch grass, wasn't able to eat grass, ate bullshit, lived crammed, was killed in an inhumane, unethical way, and now you're eating that, you literally take on that trauma. And now you're trying to get nutrition out of something that is so stressed. There's no question why you feel shit after eating food out of convenience, or why you might feel tired right after eating. Like, that's not normal. You should feel energized. If you have to eat out of convenience, like if you have to eat out, try to choose foods that are cleaner. Like, things that I would typically choose would be like poke or sushi. It's typically very clean, very raw. Maybe Mediterranean foods, because they tend to use like olive oil or avocado oil as opposed to like seed oils. Do your own research on what it is that you're eating, and you will notice that it's very, very hard to find places that are actually clean or cleaner. Because the moment you have to give someone else your money because you don't have time and energy to make it yourself, that's when the Matrix can come in and be like, all right, well, fuck you then. Secondly, if you do end up making food yourself, you have the privilege of choosing what goes into the meal, right? The macronutrients, the micronutrients, the vitamins, the minerals, and the quality of the ingredients. Are you using organic foods? Like, what foods do you have to buy organic? Which ones could you not have to buy organic? Like oranges, you don't have to get organic. What oils are you cooking with? How much oil are you cooking with? How are the ingredients that you purchase, how are they sourced? You know, are they from like a big ass company, or is it like a family owned business that actually gives a fuck about where they source their food? You have so much more control when you cook your own food. And if you're like, well, I don't have time to cook my own food, you will find time if you care. And the way that you choose to spend your time is your choice at the end of the day. No one's working 24/7. Would I rather lose an hour of sitting at the TV because I don't have energy than to like spend that hour meal prepping? I would. And that's what I do. Every single Sunday, I meal prep my food. So I'll go to the grocery store, I'll buy exactly what I want, what I need, and I'll come home. I'll spend an hour to cleaning and prepping it, and then I don't have to worry about it for a whole week. Some people, they meal prep the entire month. They'll meal prep every single meal. I typically just meal prep my breakfast and my lunch, and then for dinner, I'll either freshly cook it or someone else will freshly cook it, like my mom or my boyfriend. You can also meal prep multiple different meals so that you're not constantly eating the same thing every day if that's what you fear. There are definitely ways around it is what I'm saying, and you have way more control over what goes into your body. Your diet completely changes your microbiome. You could be feeding parasites, you could be shifting your microbiome into dysbiosis, where you will have an overpopulation or a dominant population that is actually bad for you and could be causing inflammation, could be taking your micronutrients from you. And everyone is different. There's not like certain species that are like good for everyone and bad for everyone. There's a balance that is special for you because we all live in different environments, we all eat different foods, we live in different countries, we breathe different air, we do different physical activities, so it will literally be different for everyone. Your good microbiome, providing micronutrients, helping you actually digest your food so that you can get the nutrition out of it. Like, you are literally your microbiome. You are what you eat. You also have to understand that your body is an entire connected system. Like, you cannot isolate what happens in the liver and think that there's only things happening in the liver. Like, if something's happening in the liver, your entire body is aware of that, and there are things happening all over your body. Like, there was a conference I went to where someone's entire talk was saying that every single person with cancer, before they had it, they had liver dysfunction. Every single person with cancer has an issue with their immune system, and every single person with cancer has a shift in their microbiome, because these are all things that are interconnected within our body, constantly signaling and talking, and they're working so hard to keep you healthy. Like, literally your body is built to heal itself, but when you're not providing eating bullshit, then your body's like, fuck, okay, let's deal with this, and then like you eat bullshit again. It's like, damn it, like I can't actually focus on like what we need to be focusing on like repairing and healing and detoxing and these things, because your body is so focused on the bullshit that you just put into it. Physical activity is a huge thing, right? You need to get your blood circulating. There's different things for different people. Figure out what is best for your age, for your build. And as you evolve, like if you were obese and you have lost a bunch of weight, like the way you work out now that you weigh less will also be different. So it's constantly evolving. It's not like you can just figure out one thing and you do that for the rest of your life. Like, as we age, we can't do the same things anymore, and we shouldn't be doing the same things anymore, because literally every time you lift heavy weights, you are tearing your muscles, and that's how you build muscle, but that's also causing inflammation. Every time a woman has her period, that is literal inflammation. The physical activity that you endure, the physical and mental activity and emotional, that you endure when you're on your period, like, it will literally amplify your cramps because your immune system is trying to focus on what's happening, and then you're like doing other things. You're eating more bullshit. You could be worsening the pain for yourself and not allowing your body to actually properly do what it's trying to do for you, because you're not giving it the right tools to do that. So it's all about, how can I provide my body with what it needs so that I can do what it needs to do so that I have a high quality of life. And you'll notice that when you exercise, you get energized. Although it's like hard to motivate yourself to actually go, because you're like, oh my god, this is like work I have to do. But you're investing in yourself, right? And I think investing in yourself is the only thing that you should be investing in. Don't invest in this fucking matrix. Diet, physical activity, also like the water that you drink. Not just the water that you drink, but the water that you shower in and bathe in. We've polluted everything at this point. We are our environment. We are the state of the earth. We are not separate from it. So we're not taking care of ourselves. The products that you use matter. The soap that you use to wash your hands, the shampoo and conditioner you put on your scalp, like all of these things are going into your body. The lotion, the skincare, the makeup, what is in it? Do they have endocrine disruptors? There are a lot of apps that are really helpful. I personally love to use the Yuka app for personal products. If you are a woman, menstrual products you use, when you look at the aisle of menstrual products, probably like 99% of it's really, really bad for you. They're like bleached, they use wax coating, non-organic cotton, just a lot of bullshit in everything. Bullshit in your deodorant, bullshit in your shampoo, in your hand soap, and all these things like literally go in your skin. Your skin is your biggest organ. Pick better things, and obviously the better things are probably more expensive. Not always though. Same thing with food, like choosing to buy organic is more expensive. But again, it's like, this is what I'm choosing to invest my money in. A lot of people are not privileged financially with the capital to make these better choices. And again, that's done on purpose. But if you are, then you should be making these better choices. Instead of, buying into consumerism, where it's like, but I'd rather have like the new purse and the Labubu and all this stupid shit. The environment that you live in really, really matters. The energy in which you live in. If you live in a home that's toxic and there's a lot of arguing, your body will physically take that impact. The central nervous system will be equipped for fight or flight as opposed to repair and relax. Again, if you're privileged to live somewhere else, maybe you can invest in that. But some of us aren't. So like, how do we live in environments that are emotionally and energetically draining? People that are negative are literally energy vampires. How does someone live in a toxic environment and not be physically impacted by that, and emotionally and mentally impacted by that as well? Meditation, holy fuck, meditation. Finding hobbies, finding spaces in which you feel safe, finding people in which you feel safe. Like, if there's somewhere else you can go, like if there's something that you don't feel safe doing at home, is there a place that you could feel safe doing those things? Like, a lot of people don't feel like they can pursue their hobbies at home because of the environment, because of judgment, because of whatever. You got to get creative with the cards that you were dealt, and never take no for an answer, and never settle for less. If someone tells you that you can't do something or that you shouldn't be doing something, but it's something that matters to you, don't let somebody crush your dreams, because that's their own self-judgment. They can't do it. That doesn't mean that you can't do it. So it's about reprogramming your mind and your belief system. You can watch my last video where I talk a lot about the matrix and how like we've been programmed to believe certain things, and they limit us and they tell us what's impossible and who we are and what the world is, like what to expect of the world. Like, there could be two children that grew up in the same environment. They lived in poverty. They were raised by single parents. They lived in crime-inflicted neighborhoods. But these kids have different belief systems. One of the kids thinks that like people like us, they don't get opportunity. Like, you can never reach your dream because, people like us aren't allowed to do that. Like, the system has been put into place where we can't make these choices, and I see it because like their parents were like that, their friends are like that, their community is like that, and it reflects that. Like, literally your reality reflects your beliefs. So if you believe that you can't do something, then you can't. But then there's a kid who has that sliver of hope, sliver of inspiration, whatever it might be, and they're like, well, why couldn't I? Like, why couldn't I try? You know, there are other people in my community that have broken out of this. You know, they didn't succumb to other people's limitations. They decided to believe in themselves and to believe in their talents, and that there are opportunities out there, and I'll get lucky. You know, it's like the lucky girl syndrome or lucky boy syndrome. That sliver of hope could just be luck. And it's like, sure, there aren't opportunities, but I might be lucky. I might be the lucky one. How do you expect to win the lottery if you never buy a lottery ticket? There's so many ways to make money and to make opportunity. A lot of the times you have to make the opportunity for yourself, because you're not always going to be handed it, especially given your situation and the cards that you were dealt. Like that opportunity, for some kids, they're born with the opportunity given to them. That's nepotism. There's everyone else. Well, I have these other cards, and how can I make an opportunity out of the cards that I was dealt? That's important. And that's, again, reprogramming your mind, reprogramming your beliefs, your perspective on your reality. Instead of getting mad at your parents arguing in front of you, it's like, well, I might never see my parents ever again. And although I hate the environment that I live in, I'm blessed to be here. I have an elderly dog, for example. She's almost 18, and she's everything to me. As an elderly dog, she pees and poops literally everywhere. Like, the moment she gets out of bed, pee. Like, you don't even have a second to take her out. There's days that we come home so tired from, like, a long day of work, and, you know, you might step in a pile of piss, and now your sock is wet, and you can get triggered really fast and very upset at your elderly dog for ruining the wooden floors in our house, for making it smell, for having to clean up after her, when it's like, how could I blame her? Instead of me getting upset and mad over these things, like, one day she won't be here. One day I won't have piss to clean up. I won't get to even hear her paws and her long nails on our hardwood floors. Why am I putting my energy into getting triggered and mad over this when it's like, one day that'll all be gone and I'm going to miss cleaning up her fucking piss? I can't change what's happening. Like, I can't force her to stop peeing and stop pooping everywhere. That's changing your perspective. This takes a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of work. You have to, you know, gain the knowledge, find the books, find the YouTube videos that help you understand your situation, why you are the way that you are. You know, thinking about childhood trauma, we all grow up with childhood trauma that we're not taught how to process. So that causes us to be really angry adults, easily triggered. Like, most of road rage is because people are just, like, naturally triggered. And so one little thing, it's like, fuck you. It's all about how you respond to situations that happen to you instead of reacting. To train yourself to, like, take a second and be like, okay, is this really worth it? Is it worth my time and energy to cause inflammation, to cause cortisol to pump through my body, to cause adrenaline and my adrenals to go crazy? Like, is it really worth it? Typically, when you approach things with a positive mindset and a positive attitude, likely get a better outcome. Understand why you are the way that you are. Like, what happened in your childhood that made you so triggered by these things, that made you make these choices? And don't blame yourself for them, but understand yourself and have compassion for yourself. Like, literally look at your younger self and give them a fucking hug. Love that younger version of yourself, because they're doing the best that they can. And that's you. That becomes you one day. And do that to everyone around you. You know, like, when you see someone get really angry and do really bad things, what could they have gone through that made them that way? Every superhero villain movie that there is, like, when you want to talk a villain out of doing something like that would, like, destroy the whole world, it's because they've been hurt at one point in their life. Only hurt people. You showed them love and compassion and be like, dude, I see you and I get it. That could do so much, because that's you. Like, if you grew up the same way that they grew up and you went through the same things that they went through, you'd be doing the same thing. We don't choose the way we grow up, but we choose with how we process our trauma. We choose our beliefs. We choose our choices. These are choices, right? And we make these decisions every day. Emotional trauma, emotional stress, these cause inflammation in our body. Why do you choose a toxic relationship? Why do we stress about work? It's like, we know it's Sunday today, and so many people are causing inflammation in their body because they're like, fuck, I have work tomorrow. You know, like, how do we change our perspective so we don't hate work tomorrow? So we don't hate our coworkers? These are things that you can literally change. And like when you do the internal work, you will literally see your external world change. I have done that, and I was like, how did this happen? Like, how did I get from something so toxic, so energetically draining, to such a beautiful thing? Like, I literally don't even know how the fuck it happened, but I know it's because I did the internal work. And the last thing I want to mention is obviously like the air that we breathe. Like, for example, here in Chicago, we have been breathing unhealthy air for about 2 weeks because of the wildfires in Canada, which again is our fault. Like all this crazy stuff that's popping up, that's because of us. The choices that we make that we don't take seriously. Since we're hurting the earth is hurting us. I wore a mask anytime I stepped outside for the last 2 weeks until the air quality got better. Is that surprising? That the air that we breathe impacts our energy in our bodies? Causes inflammation. Anything you put in your lungs, it matters. It causes inflammation. You become the energy of what you breathe. It's important for people to take their life seriously, and instead of getting so wrapped up in the distractions that the Matrix feeds us, like social media distractions, work as a distraction, you know, they purposefully like make us slaves to the system so that we don't have the time to even think about these things, nor do we have the energy to think about these things. All of this is done on purpose. We can overcome the cages, at least be in a prettier cage. Understand the Matrix. We do make choices every day, and these choices have long-term effects. Just question, why am I doing these things? Why am I choosing these things? What do I care about? Why do I care about those things? Is it benefiting me, or is it benefiting the Matrix? I think you can enjoy your life more when your quality of life is higher. Think about the food you put in your body. You could drink virgin cocktails, go to lunch at a cleaner restaurant with your friends, be friends with less toxic friends, find spaces in which you can pursue your own hobbies by yourself, or put yourself in spaces where other people like to do the same thing that you like to do, and they understand you and they see you, and you exist for a reason, and you're not here to be trapped. Like, no one deserves injustice. No one deserves to not know the impact of their choices. It's not taught on purpose. And in times when I can't make a better choice, I have compassion for myself. This is kind of like a double-edged sword, because if I think that eating crumble cookies is horrible for me, and one day my boss brings crumble cookies to celebrate somebody leaving the lab, like, cookies are literally my favorite dessert, like, I'm gonna have a cookie. Am I going to be like, oh my god, I'm like causing all this inflammation in my body, and like literally my body's not going to be able to repair itself, and I'm like reminding myself of all the bad things that I'm doing, eliciting even more harm by thinking this way? It's have grace for yourself, and when you can't make better choices, or when you want to allow yourself to not make a good choice. It's all about just being better when you can. Being a little bit better every day, changing little habits. These habits compound over time. I literally don't experience period pain anymore. I've cleaned up my food, I've cleaned up my diet, I've changed my perspective on the environment that I live in. I've found a way to pursue my passion in many different ways in my life, and that's up to me. Like, no one taught me any of these things. It's things that I pursued to learn myself. That's all I think about, and my passion is just to spread that to those around me. Hopefully communicate it in a way that doesn't make someone feel like shit. I'm not blaming you. I'm trying to empower you, but I know that the way that I say things, it doesn't sound empowering. I'm working on it, but I hope you got some sort of valuable insight from this video. Maybe you think a little bit better about the choices that you made. It's the butterfly effect. All I ask is that you question why it is that you do what you do. Why are we cheersing with alcohol? Why do we choose alcohol? And why do we judge each other when we don't drink alcohol? The thing I get is someone will say, oh, like, you don't drink? I'm like, yeah, I don't drink. And it's like, I wish, like, that's good for you. Like, I should stop drinking. But I'm gonna take this shot. Have fun. Like, I'm not judging you. And I don't care if you do or don't drink. But all I care is that you, like, understand how, like, this is the Matrix. Like, you're literally paying someone else a lot of money. That's just my perspective. That's how I think. I love you, and I'll see you next time.